Morning, everyone. NHSAA's motto is to be champions for children, and our members are proud to be co-sponsors of New England's largest educational technology conference. The power of new technology offers great potential for improved learning opportunities for all our students. It is a special honor to welcome you to this year's conference since it is our 27th anniversary. What a remarkable and valuable partnership this event has become. It has also led to improved learning for all students. The conference again this year features many best practices and is a wonderful example of educators teaching educators. The members of NHSAA are pleased to support the development of all educational leaders. It is now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker for the day. Kevin Honeycutt's bio in his own words: I grew up in poverty and my family moved a lot, always staying a step of the ramifications of my father's behavior. As I witnessed education around the country, I collected powerful experiences that still influence my conversations and my work with educators. I spent 13 years teaching art, K-12 in public school, and spent summers leading creative adventure camps for kids for 17 years. For the past 3 years, I have hosted a creative learning site called Art Snacks, where I share over 150 drawing videos that support the standards curriculum. This social learning network is my petri dish for learning to mentor teachers and students in virtual environments. He is a school board member in the town of Inman, Kansas, and is currently serving his second term. Kevin has developed an online safety, anti-bullying, and cyberbullying curriculum. He continues to work with schools to develop innovative, engaging curriculum to better prepare learners for the world they will face when they graduate. Kevin is passionate about meeting the needs of at-risk learners and works with kids in juvenile detention, developing approaches to re-engage the lost learner. He brings his personal life experience and a sense of humor to the mission of helping prepare 21st century learners. Please join me in welcoming Kevin Honeycutt.
Thank you. Yay. Let me tell you who I really am now. I'm a third-term school board member, don't judge me. Because I believe if you're going to talk about this, you should be up to your armpits in this. You shouldn't just talk about what we should do, you should be doing it. So I do a lot of things with schools. I do a lot of pro bono work because I still need to work with kids. I have to work with kids. And I'm drawn to the hard ones because I was one. I'm drawn to those tough kids who bite. You know what I mean? You try to help them and they snarl. They snarl. It's hard to love them, but those are the ones I'm drawn to. So over and over again, I go to those kids. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story today, and I'm guessing these things will pop on whenever you unmute, or is there something I have to do? I think it's unplugged, right? So we just have to replug. Let's see where it went here. Here it goes. Okay. Now you'll see that in my presentation I share a narrative, because when I talk to kids in poverty, I tell them your biggest weakness is your biggest strength waiting to be told well. Own your narrative. You came from hard circumstances, talk about that. Blog about that. Put that on the record. That makes a good backstory when you finally make it. Stop using your life as an excuse not to have one. Stop doing that. So I love kids, but I kick their butt with love. Some of you got some gray in your hair and you know what I mean. You ever get that phone call from a 30-year-old thanking you for what they used to hate you for?
Mr. Honeycutt, I just want to say thanks. You're the only teacher that held me accountable. I'm still in prison, but when I get out,
I swear to God, I've had that literal phone call. I've had that phone call, right? So we challenge kids, but we have all these new tools. I don't want you to think that I like tools, don't get me wrong, but tools for tools' sake is nothing. It's self-indulgent fun, I guess. If this doesn't do something for kids and for learning, we're wasting money and time. So it's got to mean something. So what I've been telling teachers is how doesn't matter, because how got easy. How to do it got easy. Why is more important. Why would we use this? To me, I'm a digital dumpster diver. I'm looking for the best of what's free to engage kids. Now, I want you to think about this. You're in my class, young lady. What's your name? Melissa is in my class, and she's a sweet girl. She's sitting in the back, and she always has. You don't make any trouble. You're quiet. You're a secret genius. I know I've got it wrong. She's the back of the bus girl, I can tell. Right? But in my class, in my hypothetical, you're that girl that sort of hasn't happened yet. And you're probably going to graduate, and that's all going to be true unless someone intervenes. So I want to bring you out. I want to make you. I believe you can do this. So I know all of these tools because I'm connected to over 21,000 people on Twitter. Please don't think that's a popularity contest. I am the funnel of resource and opportunity for my district. I know people. I'm the guy that finds the grants. I'm the guy that finds the partnership. I'm the guy that finds the university partner because I'm connected. And I spent years building this Rolodex, right? I'm connected to the Edgeverse. You ask me a question, if I like you, I'll tell you what I think. If I love you, I'll tell you what they think. You deserve that, and so do my kids. So yes, I'm powerful. I had to be. See, the world changed, and we all have power now. Raise your hand if there are great things that happen in your district, great stories of transformation that you know about. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Keep your hand up if I can find it easily online. Oh, you're secret geniuses. We have to start talking. We have to lead the revolution. I'm tired of waiting to see what politicians will do to us next. This is too important. We need to lead this. And the only way to do that is to talk about your craft, talk about what you do, advocate, blog, talk, share your journey. Look in your iPhone and do a YouTube video a day about these things that you're learning and why you're doing the things you're doing so that young up-and-coming Jedi teacher can learn from you, right? Let's lead this revolution. Common Core is coming right down our barrel. Do you want to wait to see how they're going to have us do it? Or do you want to lead it? So I'm saying let's get big. Let's do that. Let's get big. I'm tired of being summed up by politicians who don't even know what we do. Let's lead this thing, right? I'm role modeling for kids when I look into my iPad and record my little YouTube videos. I'm showing children what good people do with technology. We help each other. Raise your hand if you made a mistake in puberty. I love New Hampshire because you claim it. Nicely done, you know? Some places they won't raise their hand. They won't admit they made a mistake. Can I Google the mistakes you made in puberty? Oh, thank God. They're analog. Nice for you. Not so much for your children. Everything they do is on the record. Every tweet is on the record. Every Facebook status update is on the record. Who's guiding these children who are raising themselves on digital playgrounds without recess attendance? Notice my words, steal them. They were, okay? They're designed to get teachers who are tired, who don't want to learn anything new, have 2 years to retirement, they're just going to get a paycheck. They're designed to re-anoint those people, right? Get them back in the race again. That's what I want. And I believe even the most reluctant educator can become a freshman again if you touch their hearts, just like kids. I had a woman cry one time. Cry after a presentation. She came up, her mascara is running. She's like, I'm 2 years from retirement. I was going to ignore all of this, and now I know I must do it. Oh, she's beautiful. She's 10 years old. She's a new learner again. I love that, you know? It's exhausting, all of these changes. It's exhausting. Is anyone else just tired sometimes? Raise your hand. Please don't let it just be me. See, this organism that we are, the last time we had a genetic reboot was when we were upper Paleolithic hunter-gatherers. We are overclocking our biological CPU, you know, because there's a lot of stuff. Look at all the stuff that we're doing. I feel that info whelm. So much stuff, right? So I believe the solution to that is community. You do that, and I'll do this, and you do that, and you do that, and we'll share what we know with each other. We don't all have to do all of it. Good grief. You'll burst into flames. I'm not a natural with technology. I'm a 12 o'clock flasher. That sounds bad. What that means is everything in my house is flashing 12 because I can't program it. What were you thinking? I don't even want to know what you were thinking there, right? But I've got to be in this race because the kids are there. I have a kid. Raise your hand if you think this is true. Even good kids will do stupid things if no one's watching. Raise your hand if this is true. Even good adults will do stupid things if no one's watching. Anthony Weiner. Come on, your name is Wiener. That's a grown man. What was he doing? What was he thinking? Was he up late going, what's the stupidest thing I could possibly do? And then he did that. So, 12-year-old girl gonna make a midnight mistake on social media? We gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about this. I want kids to build a digital legacy that gets them the scholarship. Are we even assigning that? I call it digital placeholder behavior. So here's the deal. She hasn't even activated on social media yet, and I talk you into having a blog to talk about that thing you believe in because you raise money for that village in Uganda. I want you to talk about that. Be on the record for that. You don't even know why yet. 2 years from now, when you start finding partners and people who want to help your cause, now you start realizing you have some power, and you don't want to risk that. You won't throw that away for one status update. You see? Now you care about your legacy. Let's build one. If we haven't helped kids build a digital legacy, why would they care? So I want to assign that. Assign that. You have a smartphone? Where are your virtual field trips for kids who don't go on field trips? Where are your historical New Hampshire field trips to cool places that you went this summer? You talking to the docent of the museum and pointing your phone at them and giving that to people. Assign something. Digital placeholder behavior, I call it. Who's read Grimm's fairy tales? They're grim, aren't they? I read them and I go, God, why do people read these to their children? They cause nightmares. And then I thought, I know what this is. These are cautionary tales designed to help kids not do stupid things until they're old enough not to die. We need digital Grims. And we have it in the form of headlines if we talk about these things. Raise your hand if you're on Twitter. I want you to be because your kids are there. Your kids are there, right? They're already past that, by the way, 10 miles down the road. So we've got to kind of be where they are. And it's exhausting. I know. I know, right? I'm 47 and I feel 100 sometimes. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story. This is me in 1966. When my high school kids see this, they say, cool, Civil War. No, just because it's a black and white picture doesn't mean it's Civil War. It's 1966. That's a Polaroid land camera. Who had a Polaroid? Oh, thank God I'm not the only person. Remember you'd pull the film out the front? Did you go like this even though it didn't do anything? Yeah. And then you peeled it off and that's how you got a picture. That's me in Danville, Indiana. I don't know that I've been born into a family where my dad is an alcoholic. I don't know I'm going to live in 20 states. I don't know that we're going to be on the run for the law. I don't know I'm going to be in foster homes. I don't know any of that yet, right? That's where I was born. I didn't pick my family. I just landed there, right? So that's me back then. That's me and my brother. For years, I thought my brother was the Antichrist. My brother beat me up every day of my life. One day, he held me down on the ground and poured a whole can of black pepper in my eyes. I said, why? I want to see if it'd make you blind. My brother's a preacher now. I can't get even. The statute of limitations has run out on that one. Shopping for clothes at my house meant a visit to the Goodwill box. Not the store. We didn't go to the store. You need money to go to the store. We shopped at the box. Dad would go pull up to the box at midnight on a school night. By the way, I got to learn tomorrow in your classroom. Tonight I'm in the Goodwill box. He puts me inside, opens the front. I get in that little chute. He closes it. I fall inside. I hand out bags of clothes, fast as I possibly can. I was terrified. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm in the Goodwill box, New Oxford, Pennsylvania, midnight, handing out my bags of clothes, and I heard this.
215, Roger 215.
There's a blue GMC pickup parked outside of Valco next to the Goodwill box. Roger that. I'm going to run that plate. Roger that. My dad just takes off. Nothing lonelier than third gear in a GMC from the inside of the Goodwill box. It was an hour and a half before he came back. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. He says, get in. And we go home and tear open the trash bags, and that was school clothes shopping night in the Honeycutt trailer. And you wore whatever was in those bags. I learned some things about humans. Humans don't donate great clothes. They wear those. They don't donate bright orange pants, clown pants, or whatever you might call them, and I wore that to school in 20 states. How do you think that went for me? The most dangerous place to be in school is alone. We know a lot of kids who are dying daily of being different, you know? How many slots do we have for kids to be successful in a school? It seems like not enough. If you're not one of these 20, then you're one of the dregs. You're one of the outcasts. You're Steve Jobs. You're Bill Gates. You're Einstein. You're Edison. What were their school experiences? Why? Why? They were in trouble for being magnificent because it was inconvenient, you know? So we have all these new tools where you can be a little rock star, little girl. I can bring you out, little girl. I can say to you, can you help me? I'm old. Can you look at this piece of software I found called Google SketchUp? I want to show it to the class, but can you help me? And because we have a relationship, you'll do it for me, for Mr. Honeycutt. And tomorrow, you show the class, and for the first time in your life, you feel smart. And your parents think you're smart. They want you tested for gifted. See how fast that happens? You think she could be gifted? Sweetie, she's walking upright. You're welcome. Come on, let's not lose our minds. Here, she's doing a cool thing. But I look and see, how can I hand a kid a new thing? How many new things do we have? My God, we can be prescriptive. You know what I mean? That I'm in love with. Because I was a dumpster diver for years as an art educator. I had no budget. I really literally dived in the dumpster for cardboard and found materials. And now it's digital. At my website, kevinhoneycutt.org, if you go there, there's a toolbox on the top of the page. It's black and it's yellow. If you click that, you'll go to this giant page of tools that I've been collecting from my network. I asked 10,000 teachers what their favorite free tools were, and I put them, the best of them, on one page, and that's an ever-changing page. Right? So if you want to go there afterwards, because you're going to forget most of what you hear. But later on when you get back to school, if you go back there again, there it all is again. Okay? And we can keep going forward. This is big as I could dream. Remember, I come from poverty. If I win the lottery, I will live in a double-wide trailer. See, if you're not from the trailer park, you don't know what I mean, but if you're in a double-wide, you can walk this far, and you're still inside the house. It's so cool. And I wanted one with skirting that matches the house, because that's what the rich people have, and no possums come up through the sink in the winter if you have skirting. Middle class in the trailer park is tin, corrugated tin, and then there's bales of hay, and then there's my house that's sitting on the ground. Mobile homes aren't mobile once the tires go flat. Unless there's a tornado, and then they're mobile again. It's hard to live in a dwelling that's third less safe to a ditch or low-lying area. Right? That was life. And I stood here in front of this mailbox waiting for the school bus, and my stomach hurt because I know I've got to go to school and pretend everything's okay and get through the day and just be invisible. Don't get anyone talking because they'll check out the family and I'll be back in a foster home. I just want to be invisible. Leave me alone. Okay? I won't cause any trouble, I promise. So how do you bring that kid forward? Because we know it matters where you're sitting, by the way. There's research on this. You people in the front row, research calls you policymakers. You're acing my test, you're answering questions in my lecture, but as I walk to the back of the room, there's a name for you guys in the back too. Hello, my friends. That's my people back there. They call you bystanders. Don't set the room on fire and I won't humiliate you. Do we have an accord? So watch test scores drop off precipitously as you walk toward the deep end of the learning pool. We know this. This is called the custodial arrangement of teaching. It was designed to let custodians get brooms between chairs. It was never designed for optimal learning. But now we have these devices. These devices, could they be a kind of front row seat? Not if you're doing worksheets on a laptop. Worksheets on a laptop is an evolutionary step sideways, not forward. You have a Ferrari and you're going 5 miles an hour. But if what you're doing on that screen is engaging, if he is participating in classroom discussion for the first time this year because he can do it from back there, because he's a little shy, I'm sorry. He doesn't want to talk in front of the class. God, don't kill him and make him do that. But he's participating now in the Google Doc. That's a win. I got you, right? I hooked you, I'm going to cook you. Hook you and cook you, right? Suddenly kids are participating. That's why. So you don't say Google Docs, you say why. It's important for kids to participate in this discussion. The world builds things collaboratively now, online. Let's rehearse that now while they're still young. Can we do that? Why are we using Skype in the classroom? So kids can work together and collaborate, because they're going to have to do it at Boeing. So let's do it now. What's it cost? Free! It's free. So your class is working with this class in Malaysia. You're both building half of a project together so the kids can rehearse these skills now, before they get out there. They're going to live their life and either be successful or failures due to their good use of these things. I love you schools that are doing bring your own device. Good God, that's a mess, isn't it? What's the policy look like? People hate it. It's a mess. Sorry, so is childbirth. There's amniotic fluid everywhere. It is a mess. I'm sorry. We're humans. We're humans. If you ever get it cleaned up, it's broken. It's always going to be a mess. Welcome to reality, you know? I think the problem with teaching is we make it simple, we simplify, we systematize, and we systematize until there's no humanity left in it. If you don't fit it, you're the outlaw. Now I don't have room for exception. So if you're one of those crazy teachers who's always in trouble, you're probably my favorite teacher. The best teacher in any building, you can find them, they're usually in trouble because they bent the rules because they knew they had to. The best teachers are like MASH doctors, inventing new surgery on the fly, you know? When we discovered bacteria, there were people who tried to train wartime doctors to wash their hands between patients so they would, have, clean hands so they wouldn't transmit disease. Some of these doctors said, I don't have time to wash my hands, I'm too busy saving patients. But they were killing patients, right? I use these things to remind people, dang it, as long as you're teaching, you've got to be learning. You've got to be learning. This idea of getting an education and working for 30 years, it's been over for a long time. Let's get back in there again. Learn beside our children, right? And talk about it. I role model my mistakes too, because I want you to know I blew it. If I act like a perfect expert, why would you follow me? I set the bar low by being honest. I tell people what I stepped in, I guess is what I'm saying here. That's my biggest fear was my dad. There he is right there. It's not really my dad. It's how I thought about him. In second grade in Texarkana, Texas, my job, appointed family duty, was to hide his guns when he came home drunk. I was the one that knew where the guns were, and he wanted them, and that interrogation went on very late. And I got to come to your class and learn phonics tomorrow. And I apologize if I'm emotionally compromised, okay? How are you going to get me? How are you going to hook me? How are you going to make me somebody special in your class? And there were teachers who could do it. God, the ones I loved, they weren't perfect. They were never the perfect ones. The ones I called Susie Cream Cheese. They wore denim and wooden apples, I could tell in college they thought of teaching as a lifestyle that they wanted. They pictured themselves in the denim dress with the wooden apple, and all the kids looking the same, walking behind them all cute like ducklings. I was more of an iguana. Those teachers did not know how to connect to me, I was almost hugged by one time. She had her arm around this cute little girl, and I was standing over here, and she felt my proximity, but she didn't see me, and she went like this, and when she looked down, she pulled her hand back. And I died, because I knew I wasn't even touchable by her. She was afraid I had lice. I didn't have lice. My wife is an elementary teacher. She teaches K-4, 5 grades, with a part-time para. They have nothing. They have no money, no budget, no sports teams. They just got hot lunches 2 years ago, right? And she hugs them all. So she gets lice. When I'm home, I don't check her for ticks, I check her for lice. Right? But I love her because she does that. She may be the only hug they ever get, And that's me. I have to do that. I have to connect with kids. These are the angels of my childhood. These are not perfect people. This is Dorothy, this is Mary Lou Burgoon, recess attendant, para, not even a teacher. She put her arm around me at recess. She risked lice, right? The only place that I felt safe was right there. She gave me a place to be, I stood there in the shadow of her ample bosom, out of the rain, like her child, When I graduated from college, I found all of these people and I thanked them. By the way, if you've never done that, do that. You'll find them all while they're still alive, because they don't make much money. How many great cars do you have? How many Lexuses are in your driveway? Lexi, I guess, if it's more than one, right? So this is a calling, right? We need people to know that. This isn't just a career. This is a calling. My wife is a teacher. I was a teacher. And so, my son, guess what he's becoming? Where are the history teachers in the room? Any history teachers? I blame you. My son was going to be an attorney till he ran into an amazing history teacher that lit him up about the Peloponnesian War. Now he's at Kansas University becoming a history teacher. He's joining the family business, poverty. I said, marry a rich girl. He's dating a social worker. There's no hope. This is Dorothy Anderson, secretary, Hawthorne Elementary in 1978. She sent me these little letters every day. This is not technology. This is Oriental trading. I'm the only kid in class that got mail every day, these. And she would say nice things about me and predict that I was going to be amazing. And these smelled like her, and she smelled good. And I kept them all in a shoebox because this is all I had. And I never lost these. Moving and moving and moving and moving, you lose everything. There are no heirlooms for me to give my son. We had to invent heirlooms during my generation, right? Some of you know what I'm talking about. So I had a shoebox full of these, and when Dad came home at 2 a.m. and was cussing at me and calling me a fag, I'd go to my room and get out the box with these. She believed. And I chose to believe her. So when I graduated from college, I went to college. I was at Safeway in Ottawa, Kansas. She lives there. She saw me in the aisle at Safeway getting my deodorant and my razors, freshman year stuff. She said, Kevin Honeycutt. I said, Dorothy Anderson. She said, I saw you in the paper. You're going to college? I said, yeah. She said, I'm so proud of you. You are my son. You eat out of my fridge. How do you think that? How do you think that? So I'm paying it forward. She died about 7 years ago, and I owe her everything. Her and about 100 other teachers who only got this much time with me, but they managed to lift me up. You ever try to catch a kid being good and they haven't done anything yet? You're trying so hard, and you're like, hey, way to not burst into flames. Nicely done. So if I can use technology to give you that rock star moment and then lift you up and say, oh, I can't wait to see what you do next. Next is important. Anybody knows that iteration is how we get great. Where are the writing teachers in the room? Like revision, right? Revision, 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 revision. And kids don't want to do it, but my God, on the 10th revision, suddenly it's a short story that's not terrible. Thank you. That's how success is made. Success is not about being done. You ever heard kids say that? I'm done. I'm done. By the way, don't blame them. We did this to them with worksheets. Success is not done. You do it over and over and over, and you get better at something. So I want to get kids doing that, right? Whatever that takes, whatever that means. My kids tend to look like this. Kicked out of 2 schools before I met him, but he's graduating on this day. Look at that face. How do I know he's not the next Steve Jobs? How do I know he's not magnificent? Because he's an outcast. He comes at thinking differently. What is invention? To have an idea no one agrees with. He knows how to do that. Now, how can I get him started? How can I get him to do something and put it on the record and become proud of these things that he does? I teach part-time in juvenile detention, pre-trial lockup. Raise your hand if you've ever taught in juvie in lockup. Man, it's a different world, isn't it? We need to have a drink and talk. First time I went into juvie, I'm an art teacher, I got my pencils. I go up to the door, I hold up my badge. 2 sets. The guy runs up and steals my pencil. You can't bring pencils in here. They stab each other. Oh my God. He brought me a box of gummy pencils. You ever draw with a gummy pencil? It's like this, right? I got to go in there and be an art teacher with gummy pencils. And this is kind of scary. Kind of scary, right? By the way, it's exactly like staff development. A room full of people who don't want to be there, and one of them may shank you. It's exactly the same gig. I have 1 hour with these inmates, 1 hour with these orange jumpsuit kids, right? And they're all giving me that look, oh, I dare you to come up in here. So number one, I love the technology. I'm not allowed to take that in. I've got to win the trust of the guards. I've got to show that I can win these kids. So I've got 15 minutes to hook them and 45 minutes to cook them. And immediately I knew I needed 2 of me. You ever have a day like that where you wish you had 2 of you? Raise your hand if you're flipping your classroom. All right, when I come back here again, that's going to be a lot more hands, I hope, okay? I needed to flip my classroom. I needed all my thing to be in video form, so Archive Kevin could teach while I walked around and mentored. I needed 2 of me. Plus, have you ever tried to turn your back on a room full of inmates? And draw at the same time. So I went home, and that summer I made 135 10-minute drawing videos. So I could put them up there and start it. By the way, I'm rewindable. You're welcome. Ever have a kid in your class who you can tell doesn't get it, but they won't tell you? You can see on their face they don't get it. And you check in front of everyone. You understand, right? Oh my God. Right? They just missed a brick on the foundation of learning. And you're going to keep building? That's going to be a problem. But what if they could go home to your channel and rewind you 2, 3, 4 times on their mom's Android phone? Right? That's customer service. And by the way, I like it when a kid's absent. Do you have time to give the whole lecture again? No, watch episode 3, the isosceles triangle. I'll talk to you in a minute. Thanks, Jacob. Oh, by the way, wear headphones. And go on with your life. It's a benevolent act to archive your instruction. Put the lecture on a video, have them watch that, and then do something meaningful during class. Why do a lecture during class? You have time with kids. You get to apply the lecture. Wouldn't that be awesome? Do that. Make 1 lesson. One lesson. One they trip over anyway. But you end up saying 3, 4 times. We indict kids. We don't mean to, but we do it with an exhalation. You're at my desk for the 3rd time, and I go, I just told you a lie. I just said you're wasting my time. I said you're stupid, and I said I don't want you here. I didn't mean to. There's all these kids waiting. Sorry. But now you're back at the back of the room, and you're not coming back again. But if I could say, look, I know you don't quite get this. Can you watch that? I made a video just last night on this. Wear headphones. I'll talk in a minute, okay? Okay? It's hard to learn. I know I struggle with it too. Wouldn't that be a nice thing? Could you do that? So I bring my art snacks. Look at my gangbanger fluffy bunnies. I got inmates drawing fluffy bunnies. These are gangbangers drawing fluffy bunnies, and one of them said, I'm giving mine to my mom. He loves his mom. He's still a boy. It's not too late. It's not too late. Dang it. It's never too late as long as we have time with kids. And some of my teacher friends say, why do you try? Why do you waste your time? It's too late for those kids. Bull crap. A guy taught me to spend $20,000 on a Camaro. He did that in 20 minutes. I'm from the trailer park. It was easy. Right? I can sell a kid a life in an hour. By gosh, I'm going to try. And, I know you're in trouble. I know you have a reputation. I'm going to act like I don't know that. Because how am I going to clean the slate if you know I know that I bought the veneer already? So I just act like the opposite's true. You ever do that? You ever treat the scariest kid in the room like they're the only one you trust? God, that's a double-edged sword. Big, tough kid. He's big. He poops bigger than I am. Just a big kid. And I say, Bill, man, it's a tough room. You got my back this year? Come again. You got my back? Yeah. He helps me very loud. Shut up! Honeycutt's trying to teach. It's all you, Miss Rach. That boy's my disciple now. I can do anything with him. I can transform him. I believe you can do that. You can help kids do that. You can find a way to let that kid be amazing, I know at first it's theater. I know. Heck, most of what we do is theater, right? I think if kids aren't emotionally involved, how are they going to learn? Womp, 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 womp. Why do we laugh when we hear that? How many classes did you sit through like that you remember none of? Raise your hand if there are days of school that you remember none of. If you don't remember, did you learn? You withstood it, but did you learn? I'd rather take a chance on engaging you than just do that some more, right? I want to find a way to let you drive if I can. One of my kids in juvie drew this. Is he good? How do I help him turn that into a life? How do I keep him from circling the bowl and going down the gang road, the meth road? Quickly, I don't have much time. He's been in juvie long enough to get really good at drawing. Let's do something with that. So I'm out there researching, trying to find ways to get him global. He's a good drawer. Yes, he could be a tattoo artist. He could always have been one of those. But on Cafe Press, he could be a selling artist, shipping his framed work for free to open his storefront, shipping tomorrow worldwide. Now suddenly he's an entrepreneur. Wonder what else he could draw. I wonder if he can find that market. I wonder if he can get on Etsy and find other art and start making friends with these other people who are selling and learn how to market and start having hope, See, without work ethic, none of this works. Don't you wish you could teach work ethic? Don't you wish you could hand a kid a work ethic? I'm tough on kids. I'll say, if you're not willing to work hard on your dream, you're done. Okay? It's your dream. Let's get off your butt and do something about this life. I'm tired of hearing excuses for why you're going to fail. So I share my narrative on purpose because I want them to know I did it. And it wasn't easy, and most of my siblings didn't make it out. So I've got to use this, or it was for nothing. All of this was for nothing. It's hard growing up in 20 states. I found out that intelligence is relative to where you live. This is true. In Pennsylvania, I was 2 grades behind my other peers. In Tennessee, I was 2 grades ahead. All I did was move to Tennessee. I was brilliant in Tennessee. They called me the smart Yankee. That Yankee boy, smart. 2 syllables, smart. I was in special classes. They don't even know what to do with me, right, in Tennessee. But in Pennsylvania, I'm in special classes. Where you live is important, In 1979, Mr. Austin got the Digitor. My 5th grade teacher got this. One of the earliest, seen a Digitor? One of the first classroom computers. These things were expensive for their time. And by the way, they're worth about $400 if you can find one, because the first Intel chip was in one of these. And chip collectors want the chip. Of all the people in class, he gave it to me. Here's how he did it. Kevin, can you help me? That's how the best ones always got me. Can you help me? I need to find out if this thing is accurate. Can you test its math? I can't use it in class unless I know it's accurate. Devious, man. tricked me into doing math on purpose. I did a study, checked its multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, and brought him my final conclusion report. Mr. Austin, the digit 4 is 98% accurate. I was 2% wrong. Brilliant how he leveraged that, right? But how many tools did we have back then? We didn't have much. Now what do we have? Everything. Everything. All these choices. I believe empowerment comes from being trusted to attack learning according to your own strengths. Mrs. Haas, 1980, my English teacher. She's pulling her hair out because I'm circling the bowl and flunking English. I'm in the back of the room. I'm emotionally compromised. I can't understand. The mechanics of writing are a straitjacket to me. By the way, talking is writing with your mouth. Speech to text? Hey, I know you struggle with writing, but that story you told yesterday was amazing. Can you take this iPad, click Dragon Voice Dictation, hit record, do it in that room so it's quiet? I'll see you in a minute. Thanks, buddy. You come back with 3 paragraphs. You've never had 3 paragraphs. We do some spell check, we fix some things, but my God, what's it look like to face a blank page? You know what I mean? You can't even start. Now people are going to indict this.
That's just cheating is what that is. You're letting the kids cheat.
Is a wheelchair ramp cheating? Right? Is GPS cheating? Raise your hand if you have a GPS. Raise your hand if you like your GPS. Raise your hand if you love your GPS. Then you are my friend. Right? GPS is the part of my brain God forgot to give me. It saved my marriage, actually. My wife and I don't argue anymore, you know? My wife has caught on that I have an unusual connection with my GPS. She says things about her like she doesn't think she knows everything. She kind of does. Why don't you marry it? I kind of might. I can get on with what I am good at once the GPS arrives. Don't indict the GPS. Let's focus on what I can do. And we identify what kids can't do and we tell them how many times. What if we could just fill those gaps with a tool and get on to focus on what they are good at? They might be good at some things that make them a great life. But we've got to advocate for that because people are they're going to attack this. You're going to have to tell them why. Why are you blogging with kids? Are you talking to parents about that? We know that kids write better for an audience. Up till now, it's been just me. And I love your kid, but they deserve more than an audience of one. So we want to give them an authentic audience and some feedback because the best writing is done for an audience, right? That's how you learn to write. So we're doing this on Edmodo this year. We don't get paid anything extra. You're welcome. Now parents understand why, right? So we have all these tools to let things be more important. Have you ever seen a kid launch? Raise your hand if you've ever seen a kid just suddenly become amazing in front of your eyes. Just blow everyone's mind. God, don't you live for that? I want to see 100 of these in my career. In the old days, if you're lucky, you might see 3 in a career. I want to see one every day. I selfishly want that. I want to see a kid defy the odds and become amazing. I had a 5th grader. Wears black every day. Everyone, doesn't like him. He hides over in the corner. Hard to bring out, but loves his laptop and loves software. Showed him Google SketchUp. He lost his mind. He became amazing in a day, and tremendously amazing in a week. And suddenly we start giving him different assignments for volume and measuring and ratios, because he's a rock star in this way. And suddenly the school realizes he's a rock star. Now he's got a swagger. Kids walking around with a swagger. 5th grader. Little rock star. One of my favorite tools out there is Lulu. Lulu's one, but there's a bunch of these self-publishing sites. I find Lulu and realize I can publish a book for no money tonight. I can get an account on Lulu, upload my PDF, and have a book. Choose cover art, choose pricing, click publish. It's available worldwide, and it's over on the iBook store as an ebook. Right? It costs nothing to do that. Now suddenly I'm a publisher. Now I can do this with kids. How can I validate writing by letting their book be real? And a lot of teachers, because you guys make books with kids and have authors teas, and that's awesome. It's just a little different, right? That can be a private book or a public book. You can decide. It costs nothing to start. So I started doing this. I always tested. I tamed the tool. I published 2 of my plays on Lulu, and then I took it to the 8th grade girl who's having a hard time. A little poet in my class who's really had a hard life. She's hard to love. I did a little research to find out why she's so angry, because there are teachers who don't like her. A teacher said, I don't like her. I said, we're allowed not to like our customers? She's not done yet. You can't not like her. She's a work in progress. She's angry all the time, but she's a poet. She writes poems on loose leaf paper, has a handful of sweaty poems every time I see her. And I know about Lulu. So what? I tested it. I tamed the tool. It's not going to get me fired. I have some ideas. So I say, I know you're a writer. Have you been published?
No.
Would you like to be this afternoon?
Maybe.
Do you have those in Word? Uh-huh. Let's get you published.
Okay.
She stays after school and we publish Saving Me, Poetry from My Heart, 10 pages in paperback, which she prices at $24.95. She's gouging me. I want to buy the book and give it to her, but she's gouging me. I said, sweetie, how much should that book cost? She said she didn't know. This is Saving Me, Poetry from My Heart. She marks it down to $5.52. And I bought her book on my couch that night. It shipped to my house in 3 days. In 3 days, I have her book, and I hurry to the school, and I find her at her locker, and I walk up, and I hand her book. She launches. She leaves scorch marks on the tile. She became a writer right there. You know what I mean? She took it from my hands with the reverence of a Bible. She opened it slowly and said, I misspelled everything. She cares about spelling. She cares about spelling. She didn't yesterday. Why now? What changed? Motivation, audience, the perception that she's an author, for God's sake. She had a revision done after school. She spell checked. She always does now. And she hasn't stopped since. She's teaching every other kid how to be a writer. Oh my God. How many of you have a story that you would write? A story of some kind that you would write? Lie to me. Raise your hand. How about someone else's story? Letters Home from the War, Grandpa's love story. Cooking from the Heart, recipes from Grandma's kitchen. Come on, we've all got a story. What if you did one, just to show yourself you can? And then, wonder what we could do with kids if they were publishers, global publishers. Any New Hampshire history that might be interesting? Any interviews that could be conducted with the greatest generation that's rapidly dying? Let's interview those people. Let's get that down, you know? Let those kids be authors. We did our yearbook this way. 2 years ago, we spent $30,000 with Jostens, and I love Jostens, but come on. It's a bad economy. Last year, we made $10,000 on our Lulu book. How you like me now? That's a teacher's salary. Heck, in Kansas, that's 2 teachers' salaries, probably, right? Yes, a yearbook. Wonder what else we could do. Come on, it's amazing, right? But let's get our whys down. I want you to take a minute, talk to your shoulder partner. We can publish now with kids. What are some things we could do to get kids excited and engaged because we can do this? Just for a minute, then we'll come up for air of that. Talk to your shoulder partner. If you're sitting alone, make friends with someone. Okay, but I should hear murmuring at this time. There should be murmuring and a whole bunch of harumphing. Go ahead, talk for a bit. What can we do with this? Why would we do it? Talk. Harumph, harumph. Harumph, harumph. As an art teacher, I was always on the verge of being extinct. I chose art because I knew nobody would bother me because they didn't understand art. Any art teachers in the room? I chose it on purpose. The administrator said things like, Kevin, do whatever you want, son. You're the artiste. Why do you got to call me artiste? Why do you sabotage the name of my career, Principal? But the cool thing was that people left me alone so that in my class, there's 100 ways to show you're smart. That's what they loved about it. That's why they took art every year. The most at-risk kids in the school took Art 1, Art 2, Art 3. I invented Art 4 and 5 just to squeeze them in. That was the one room where what they were was okay. You know? They weren't indicted because they couldn't become what I expected, to make them all come through the same keyhole. That wasn't benevolent. But and everyone thought that it was just touchy-feely. I had people say things to me in faculty meetings. I hear all the kids do in your room, Honeycutt, is have fun. I was told that. I said, that's against school policy? Come to my room and see how I do what I do. We critique, we learn to reflect. There's a million great things that happen when we create. By the way, what's at the top of revised Bloom's taxonomy? What word? Create. So where does that happen? Where does that happen daily in school? Because if all they're doing is writing down what you say and telling it back to you, we're creating middle managers. In a time when that's outsourced, we're creating kids that can't get a job. They're saying we need kids who are self-starters, right? Who know how to collaborate and make stuff. So let's do that. Who's following the maker movement? The maker movement starting to happening in your state. The maker movement where kids all get together and make something. God, America used to make stuff. And now we buy other people's stuff. But we got to get back to making again, right? And if they could do that in your classroom and learn science at the same time, they make a video for the president on how to stop a killer asteroid that's going to destroy the Earth in 365 days. They learn space science, physics, whatever you decide. But they don't know that. They're saving the world. It feels important to them. And they make a video. They're wearing a lab coat. They make a whole lab with computers and planets on the back so it looks real, like NASA. Mr. President, I want to share with you our solution to the global threat of the asteroid collision. My group is going to now walk you through our scenario. The toughest kid in school is the guy with the lab coat on. God, he stayed after school because he wants to save the world too. I was doing theater. I was the theater director in my town, and every year they're going to cut the play. It's $1,000 and they're going to cut it. The place where kids get on stage and talk confidently in front of an audience. They're going to cut that, right? Every kid in the play gets on stage. There's no one on the bench, right? They're going to cut that. So I can't let that happen. I do a thing called Some Pig. Who's read Charlotte's Web? Some Pig. And then they didn't make Bacon Out of Wilbur, right? So PR? Yeah, PR. There's always a story. I think every lesson plan, the top of it should be a press release. Kids in small town make Hollywood-style movie. Motivation runs rampant, right? Most news outlets are lazy. They'll use your press release word for word. For every 1 hour news cycle, they need 30 seconds of uplifting. We could be writing those. That's kind of what I did. I decided to save my program, I was going to make a movie instead of a play. I was using a G3 Macintosh back in the day. It was Avid Cinema. Raise your hand if you've heard of Avid Cinema. It was one of the earliest movie-making platforms, and it wasn't easy. Composite video out. I knew nothing about how it worked, but I knew I had it. So I just did a press release. Small town makes Hollywood-style feature film. I have no idea what I'm doing. 50 kids tried out. 10 adults tried out. Oh my God, my assistant director was so uptight he could pinch off rebar with his sphincter. He was very... I'm so sorry for the image, I'm sorry, but he said, Kevin, we can't do this. I said, the kids will help us, Bill, we can do this. Oh my gosh, it was exciting, the kids were excited. I had one computer and one camera loaned to me by the football team, and I went ahead and started. I procured the rights to a play, we filmed it in my classroom. I want to show you what that looked like. I put out the press release, 2 television news stories wanted the exclusive about my film program. There's no program, right? Anyway, they come to my school, here's what it looked like.
Every high school has a school play, but there won't be one this semester at Inman High School.
Yeah, they're doing something a little different this year. Kate's Kathleen Berger explains how it's bringing a little piece of Hollywood to Kansas.
Rolling. Scene 9B, take 1 and action.
Big Bird and Elmo are begging us to visit Sesame Street.
Bust them. Big Bird and Elmo.
Elmo!
Inman High School.
Look at the back of my classroom. I filmed the whole thing in my classroom. See this thing right here? What's that? What do you think happens when you film for 6 weeks with a clock on the wall? Yeah, watch my movie. The clock goes forward and back and forward and back. I don't know what I'm doing. I make all the kids be there every day. That doesn't have to happen. She's in volleyball. They have a scene together. It's this thing here, right? The A-B switch. So you say all your lines. After volleyball, you say all your lines, and I make it look like, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know any of this at that time. My follow shots were all done on a Rubbermaid cart with a sandbag so I could follow the kids down the hall and get these follow shots. And we were inventing the whole thing as we went. But look at the kids. The engagement and their motivation was the part that I was falling in love with.
Inman High School is getting a taste of Hollywood, and everyone wants in on it.
We just need to get the whole school to overdo it a little bit for the cameras.
Well, I never done a movie before. I get confused. And I usually say the wrong number, like right here.
So that's my kid. And that thing came the morning the news got there. We had no idea how to use it. So we're faking it, man. We're totally faking it because we need a good story. Because we know, right, we're writing a check on an account we haven't really opened, but if we build goodwill, the district will want it, right? Someone's got to write the first check. Back then it was VHS and hard. Every device has a camera now. Oh my God. So we know video is captivating and amazing, and I think video is the closest technology we've ever invented that mirrors the way humans think, learn, and remember. Video is that, right? So how can we use it? The reporter said, this is so cool. You're going to have like a Hollywood opening with red carpet? I said, yes, we are. As soon as she left, they called the wedding rental place. Asked them if they had red carpet. They had a 20-foot piece. I think it had 40 feet, but all they had was 20. So in the video, you'll see the red carpet just peters out about halfway down. I put caution tape on the sides. We rented one limo, and it drove around the block 100 times. Every kid got out of a limo. Parents were paparazzi. Kids were rock stars, right? And you had to keep your grades up to stay in my movie, or I'd delete your scenes. The kids were keeping their grades up just to be a movie star. I want to show you what that looked like when they came back.
It's the night all of Inman has been waiting for, the premiere of the movie Spy TV. The Spy TV stars will be walking down the red carpet any minute now. And here they are. It's Michelle France. Let's go. Michelle, that is a gorgeous dress you're wearing. Who's the designer?
I'm not for sure. My mom kind of helped me out with that, you know.
Michelle's pumped about her first big role in a movie. Here's a clip.
Look at this video quality. I got no mics, I got no lights, I got nothing, right? None of that mattered. After the movie, the parents pulled me over and said, Kevin, what do you need? I said, what do you mean? To do it right, what do you need? And they bought everything. They bought everything. They bought the whole, and the next year I really had a program. This one, you know, I had to kind of fake it till I could make it, you know what I mean?
You're here. You're not going to believe what Stacy did at the party. And in real life, the Spy TV stars are in the spotlight for the first time as well. That's because the movie is an Inman High School production. The actors and actresses, high school students making their movie debut. And the paparazzi is wild about them.
I have two sons in the movie this evening. I have a movie star daughter.
And how are Inman's newest stars coping with the fanfare?
Oh, it's awesome. It's outrageous.
Scott DeWitt, permanent fixture on the academic ineligible list until the movie. To be in the movie, he kept his grades up because it meant so much to him, you know? I had another kid who was in the movie. He moved after his senior year to Greensburg, Kansas, where the F4 tornado hit. It destroyed the town. He was okay and his wife was okay. She called me weeks later and said, Mr. Honeycutt, you know how they still call you Mr. and Mrs. even after they graduate and they have kids with them? It's so cool. He said, we lost everything in the tornado, but apparently the only thing Brandon can't live without is a copy of that stupid movie you guys made in high school. I had no idea what it meant to him. He's a tough guy. I could never tell. The janitor, right? Kay, the janitor, played the janitor in the movie. She chased the kids down the hall. I found out after we did the movie and did the premiere that she had a double radical mastectomy and was not supposed to leave her house. Yet that woman showed up for every day of shooting. I said, Kay, why? She said, I didn't want to miss my big break. It was the perception that this was important. You know what I mean? The problem is this, is that I own it. I love you cult of personality teachers. You do great things, but if you die in a car wreck, will the things you care about keep going? How do you give this away so the community wants it? How do you change it? The culture, you know? So the year after this, I made a student film program. And I had Oscars. I got no money for statues, so I bought bowling trophies. At yard sales, you can buy a box of bowling trophies for, if you take a bowling trophy and you break the arms off, you have what we call the leaned-in Oscars, right? Put it on a tuna can, you get the tuna can leaned-in Oscars. What are the categories? Best descriptive writing, best persuasive writing. You can line up the standards. Kids don't even know it. They're all Spielberg, staying after school to work on their project. Don't you love that? They think it's wonderful. So we have all these devices. I want a role model for kids what good people do. I do virtual field trips. I was in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, and who knows what Chimney Rock is? Chimney Rock. It's in the Pioneer curriculum, the Oregon Trail curriculum. Chimney Rock was a milestone on the Oregon Trail. When you got there, you knew you had this much time to get to the next place or you're going to freeze to death, right? So this great big structure out in the middle of next to Scottsbluff, Nebraska, which I drove by one night after I slid off the road in a snowstorm. It's all on YouTube. And I saw Chimney Rock, and I went, oh my God, my wife is teaching this right now. So the next day, I go by Chimney Rock. It's freezing outside, but I get my phone. I say, hi, kids. I want to show you something over my shoulder. You're going to see it in a minute. It's in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And then the reveal happens. They see it. And I know in the classroom, they're going, Chimney Rock, right? Yeah, that's right, kids, Chimney Rock. Imagine you're a pioneer, and you came over that hill in your Conestoga wagon or your prairie schooner, and you saw Chimney Rock. I want one paragraph on what you think they would be thinking. See you next time. Stop, publish, YouTube, Chimney Rock video, tag, history, comma, Oregon Trail, comma, pioneers, comma, Chimney Rock. Publish, I'm in the car driving. By that afternoon, my wife was using it in the classroom. It's not good. None of my videos are good. Don't wait to be good. You won't do any of this. If you waited to have the money to have kids, how many would you have? Just start, right? Because what are you doing? You're role modeling, right? What we do with technology. I try to teach my kid how to change a tire. He said, I'm not interested. When I was a kid, we rebuilt small block Chevys. I mean, we built cars. Kids today seem like they just get in cars when they wear out to get another car. He wasn't interested in learning how to change a tire. I said, then fine. You'll be standing beside the highway with your girlfriend waiting for a man to arrive. I know it's mean. He became interested. And it occurred to me that showing someone how to change a tire is $1 million video. Do you want your daughter waiting beside the road hoping someone nice shows up? Wouldn't it be cool if she could just go on YouTube and watch? What if we contributed to that, right? And again, if we're not doing that, kids are going to do something. This stuff is too good. This teacher friend of mine in Emporia, Kansas has been teaching this lesson for 32 years. They say we make our environment, and after that, it makes us. If your classroom has divots on the floor because the chairs have been in the same place for 30 years, this may be happening to you. If there are sticky tack stains on the wall where your posters go and you know how to put them up every time, this may be happening to you. Want to change everything tonight? Want to lead a revolution with me? Break into every classroom and burn every file cabinet. Purge the legacy code, right? The stuff that's laminated, right? We got to learn again. We got to change. This teacher asked me if I knew any tools. This boy in her class built this building here. It's called the School of Doom. I don't think he was into the project. This is what the same fifth grader did with Google SketchUp. Raise your hand if you're using SketchUp. SketchUp. It's free, right? In the Pro version, they give away, right? So this is you can use it on an old PC, on a Mac, three-dimensional design software. This fifth grade girl made this building. I called it a teepee. That was a mistake. Have you ever told a kid you like their work and you say the wrong thing? Nice giraffe. It's a seahorse. Sorry. I said, cool teepee. It's not a teepee. This is what she did with Google SketchUp. On my way back to my job, one of these kids texted me and said, our teacher won't accept the SketchUp work. She says it's not real till it's made of paper. It took her a year to finally realize this might also be a way to hand something in, right? That your diorama could be this. Is that okay? Does it have to be a shoebox? I believe in tradigital teaching. Tradigital teaching. Traditional, digital, you make those choices available and let kids differentiate. Let kids let you know how they best belly up to the learning bar. I'm going to jump into SketchUp real quick. I want to give you a quick drive-by. Okay, raise your hand if you've used Illustrator or Photoshop. How thick is the manual? Remember when it came in the box? It was thicker than the Bible. How can God get His word unto His people in fewer words than Adobe needs? This is why I'm living at the school till 2 in the morning, because I'm from the old school. We're supposed to read the manual. I believe it, so I'm reading the manual. My wife calls at midnight and said, do you like being married? I said, up till now, yes. She said, get home. I said, I have to learn this get home. The kids are coming tomorrow, I have to get home. I've been married 23 years. I know the get home that means get home. So I went home. The next day I come in, the janitor let the kids in when I wasn't there, and they were all surrounding the Adobe software like it was a crashed UFO. They can't wait to use it. I said, kids, I don't know how to work that. They said, Mr. Honeycutt, we know you're old. We got your back. We're going to use it and make a tutorial for you. Something happened in me at that moment. Something broke. And I said, oh my God, why was I teaching technology? I'm an art teacher. It's a pencil. I don't have a whole unit on the pencil. Today, kids, we're going to learn about the pencil. Graphite compressed between wafers of wood. There will be a quiz. That's not curriculum. It's just a tool. So I said, I only had one copy and one computer anyway. If you want to use this, you can. If you want to do it in pencil, you can. Either way, it's due Friday, and I'm not changing the deadline. And what did they do? Not only did they teach themselves, but they taught each other. And I went back to what I'm good at, right? Don't wait till you're good. You just won't move forward, right? Let's get started. They'll jump in with us. They'll figure it out. So if you open SketchUp, it looks like this. Look around for hard words. Look around for any words. Watch, I'm going to move things around. Here's a hand, right? Usually with grade school kids, I give them a simple assignment. Make a 3D shape. That's as deep as I get, right? So they get in here and they move things around. These kids have grown up with video games. They get 3D. Here's the orbit tool. right? So they start with a rectangle, they click the ground, they drag it, watch the bottom right-hand corner. What's happening there? When I let go, it pours a concrete slab. Cool, concrete slab. Push, pull tool, click, pull. And I'm going to zoom out here, Now let's tilt it down a little bit. And what if we click this, click the roof, and hit delete? Boom, I'm inside. I wonder what the paint bucket does. Ooh, carpet and textiles, cool. Bricks and cladding, don't mind if I do, click. I wonder what would happen. And that's cool, you're thinking geometry, the art teacher will like this. Stop, don't laminate this. I can teach literature with this, okay? My girl over here is good at SketchUp. I assigned you to read Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven. She didn't read it. So I say to you, I know you like SketchUp, can you help me? I don't think the kids in class are picturing that interior the way Poe's describing it. Can you design in SketchUp the interior Poe described in The Raven? What are you going to have to do first? Rich, you are a designer. You stay after school to work on that. Gotcha. See, I let you use what you're good at to learn what I need you to know, right? That's sneaky. I call it Trojan horse teaching. Right? Find a way to get you there anyway. Wouldn't it be cool if there were already just a lot of artifacts that kids could go get without drawing? Oh, there is. If you click this up here, let me get rid of this. This here, it opens the 3D warehouse where there are hundreds of thousands of already made things kids can just import. Like what you say, thanks for asking. Parthenon, the Pantheon, Andersonville Civil War prison, the human skeleton, the circulatory system, the heart, the eye, the ear, everything that we teach, every artifact, the Liberty Bell, history, hundreds of thousands of things already in there. So what if kids could just go get them, put them inside their big room, and create museums and be docents of those museums, and do research and make descriptive or persuasive writing placards for the wall? How much would that cost? I'm excited by the things we could possibly do. We're cooks. We're cooks in the kitchen, and we have new spices. Let's stop making meatloaf. You know? What can we do? I got my first guitar in 8th grade. Now, I'm a poor kid, so poor kids don't get guitars, but I begged my dad for years, and he found one at a yard sale for $1 with no strings attached. It had no strings attached, so I played air guitar for a few months, and then at Christmas I got a set of strings, and now I've got a set of strings, and the old man next door tuned it. I got a loaded weapon and no idea how to play it. And I'm not going to give up or let that stop me, so I just start messing around with it, kind of noodling with the guitar, and I found this cool thing where if you put your finger on the second string, hit the top two strings, and slide that to 4, 2, 4. That's all I could do, so I entered a talent show. 8th grade, 1,700 kids in the audience. I walk out on stage. I think I'm going to win. I start my song. Kids are cool at first. They're like, nice start. They don't know that's all I'm going to do. The booing started right away. About 30 seconds in, throwing things at me started at 45 seconds. Getting me off stage for my own security happened in a minute. I went home and cried and said, I'll never, never, never do that again. But I couldn't let this go. I knew I was supposed to play this. I was just born in the wrong trailer. Now we have YouTube. I can rewind that teacher over and over and over, and they don't know how many times it took me to figure it out. I love that. Teaching guitar for 25 years, most kids I find quit. And I know where they quit. They quit at blisters. See, this is hard. It hurts. You got to want this so much that you'll endure pain to learn it. And most kids don't get past that moment, right? Are there cognitive blisters between kids and language acquisition, math, and other things? So I look at that, and I look at these things that we have, and I ask myself, are there ways that we could engage kids with these tools that we have? Because if not, we're wasting a whole lot of money. So that when the iPhone first came out, I started looking for apps that could help me teach guitar. And the first one I found was called Pocket Guitar. Pocket Guitar turns your phone into the fretboard of a guitar, and what I like is it's actually the right size. So a G major is a G major. Songs now, E, A, and B7. Everything Christmas, spiritual, Elvis, most of country, happy birthday to you. And now she wants to play that. Gotcha. It's an app, right? There's a couple that I absolutely must show you. This one's called Harmonica. It turns your phone into, guess what? Don't let just anyone do this to your device. That's the iPhone, right? The iPad, oh my gosh, the iPad, suddenly on the iPad, you have GarageBand for free now, for free, right? So I can put a set of drums on here and let the kids start playing the drums on that iPad, and I want them to do this. I want them to try this. In fact, I'm going to put a set of drums on here. Let's just do, I'm not going to do smart drums. If I do, it'll play for me, but I'm just going to put a set of rock and roll drums on here. I'm going to turn that up just a little bit. Record button so I can make a multi-track recording right here inside the iPad, right? So I want to borrow a volunteer from the studio audience. John, can I borrow you for a minute? Can you give me a round of applause and get him to come up here? John. I'm going to get this out of your way, okay? I want to do a thing here. I like to do a tradigital mini jam. Old school, new school, mixed together so that people see that these things can go together, right? Just give me a beat, some kind of a beat. And cool. Can you give me a little more level on that? Speed you up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to show you a quick thing here. So we're going to go. See, 2 fingers. Two fingers up. Take it slow. Good. Keep doing that. Tap your foot with it. You're at a conference to learn, by the way, I honor that. Learn on behalf of those kiddos, right? I look at all this stuff and there are new things that are possible and there are new kids that we can win, that we can engage with these things. And sometimes it's going to look silly. I think it's okay. I think it's okay for it to be fun a little bit, you know? I'm honored that you guys paid attention, that you actually listened to an old guy like me. I'm going to do my little closing slide, and I know I went a little bit late, and I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to go skip over a little bit of content there. Here's my closer. When I was a little kid, I was running through my house in my diaper, and I had a pair of those things on the right called tweezers. And I saw these things on the wall with 2 holes. I was a smart child. Explains a lot, doesn't it? I knew they went together, so I walked up and I plugged in the tweezers. Anyone else do this ever? We're going to be friends. My mom saw this whole drama play out really fast from the door, and she saw it, but she couldn't get there fast enough, so she ran in and kicked me with love. She was like, no! My fingers were black, the wall was black, my diaper was full. I didn't think about that for years, so I got a little older, a little wiser, and a little boy. I got to be where he is. And that's why you guys are here, to be on the same playground with your kids and to help them have a successful future. Thank you for listening to me, guys.